Imagine discovering a career that can pay more than £150,000 a year without becoming a doctor, without becoming a lawyer, and without spending your 20s sleeping under your desk in investment banking. Yet, almost nobody talks about it. Most students never hear about it, most parents don't suggest it, and most careers advisors spend more time talking about medicine, law, engineering, or computer science. Like accountant plus depression? Not quite. Think less Wolf of Wall Street, and more the person quietly stopping Wall Street from doing something stupid. This is one of those careers that can realistically lead to £150,000 and beyond, and in some cases, way beyond. So if you're good at maths, enjoy solving problems, and want a career that's actually useful and paid properly, this one deserves your attention. So what exactly does an actuary do? In simple English, actuaries figure out how likely something is to happen, how much it could cost, and how much money should be set aside because of it. That might mean helping an insurance company decide how much to charge for car insurance. It might mean figuring out whether a pension scheme has enough money to pay people 30 years from now. Or it could mean modeling how climate change, medical advances, or people living longer might affect the finances of a company or even an entire government. In fact, actuaries now work in insurance, banking, healthcare, technology, investments, and climate risk. Basically, they're professional worriers. Except they get paid very well for worrying. Unlike your friend who diagnosed themselves with 17 diseases after reading WebMD, or your mum who somehow knows you'll catch pneumonia because you left the house without a jacket, actuaries simply do anxiety professionally and with spreadsheets. So why does nobody talk about this career? Because actuaries are hidden. People see the insurance company, people see the pension statement, people see the bank, but they don't see the actuaries behind the scenes, making sure the numbers actually work. It's a bit like being a referee. Nobody notices you. Nobody notices you when everything is going well, but everybody notices when something goes horribly wrong. And let's be honest, there is still no Netflix show called Keeping Up with the Actuaries. Huge missed opportunity, by the way. Imagine the drama. John failed another statistics paper. Absolutely gripping television, but because the profession isn't glamorous, most people overlook it, which is exactly why it stays valuable. Now let's talk about the reason everyone clicked. Money. Graduate actuaries in the UK typically start around the mid-£30,000 range. And then something interesting happens. Unlike many careers, your salary often rises as you pass professional exams. It's almost like unlocking expensive DLC in a video game. Pass another exam, unlock another salary upgrade, gain experience, unlock the next level. Part qualified actuaries can move into the £50,000 to £80,000 range. Newly qualified actuaries often earn even more. Senior actuaries regularly earn six figures, and chief actuaries can earn well over £150,000. But here's where things become really interesting. Because for some people, £150,000 isn't the destination. It's the foundation. Most people think actuarial science is just a job, but for the right person, it becomes a platform. Some actuaries move into leadership positions. Others become directors, chief risk officers, or chief financial officers. Some move into consulting, and consulting is where the ceiling starts to change. Partners in consulting firms can earn hundreds of thousands of pounds a year. Some specialists become independent consultants and charge eye-watering fees because companies are willing to pay for expertise. Then there are the entrepreneurs. Some actuaries build boutique consulting firms. Some create software companies. Some develop AI tools for insurers. Some launch businesses in Insurtech, climate analytics, or financial technology. At that point, you're no longer just earning a salary. You're building assets. You're building businesses. And while success is never guaranteed, the upside becomes much bigger than £150,000. That's the hidden part nobody talks about. Actuarial science doesn't just create employees, it creates experts. And experts can become owners. Doctors open clinics. Lawyers open firms. And actuaries, they build businesses around understanding risk. Which is one reason £150,000 isn't really the ceiling. It's just the point where things start getting interesting. So you have two options: stable nerd money or spicy nerd money, as in millions. And honestly, both are pretty good problems to have. But before you start configuring your future Mercedes on the website, there's a catch. Actually, several catches. Because becoming an actuary is hard. Proper hard. Not, I watched 3 motivational videos and now I'm an entrepreneur. To become fully qualified, most people spend years studying while working full-time. That means finishing work, then studying in the evenings, studying on weekends, taking exams, failing exams, and trying again. Many people take 4 to 7 years to qualify. Some take longer, some never finish, which is exactly why actuaries are paid so well. Because the barrier is real. If becoming an actuary was easy, everybody would do it, and then the salaries wouldn't be nearly as interesting. Basically, the exams are the profession's version of natural selection. Except, instead of lions eating gazelles, it's statistics eating students. And if you hate long-term study, this career will feel like a prison sentence. But if you can play the long game, it can become one of the greatest investments you ever make. So how do you actually get in? If you're finishing school, the traditional route is A-level maths, then a maths-based degree, then a graduate actuarial role, and many employers will actually pay for your exams, study materials, and give you study days, meaning you earn money while qualifying. But university isn't the only route. Actuarial apprenticeships also exist. There are apprenticeship pathways that allow you to work and study at the same time, which means you can potentially avoid a huge amount of student debt while still progressing toward qualification. And what if you're watching this later in life and thinking, great, but I'm already 30 and questioning every life decision I've ever made? Good news, you don't necessarily have to start from scratch. Many career changes move into actuarial science from maths, engineering, economics, finance, and data science. Some previous qualifications can even provide exemptions from certain exams. So whether you're 16 and trying to figure out your future, or 35 and having an existential crisis during your lunch break, the door isn't closed. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room: artificial intelligence. Will AI replace actuaries? Probably not. Will it change the profession? Absolutely. AI will automate repetitive tasks. It will make modeling faster. And frankly, nobody dreams of spending their entire life cleaning Excel spreadsheets. Well, almost nobody. But the valuable part of actuarial work isn't typing numbers into a computer. It's making decisions. It's understanding risk. It's spotting when assumptions are wrong. It's explaining complicated ideas to business leaders. And it's taking responsibility when millions of pounds are on the line. The actuaries of the future won't compete against AI. They'll use AI, and the people who combine maths, communication skills, business understanding, and AI tools will probably become even more valuable. So who should actually consider this career? You should seriously look into actuarial science if you enjoy maths, logic, pattern spotting, and solving problems. Not just because you're good at maths, but because you genuinely enjoy understanding how the world works. You might also love this career if you want excellent pay, strong job security, and a route into high-level finance without sacrificing your entire life. And if you're entrepreneurial, actuarial science can become something much bigger than a career. But you probably shouldn't do it if you hate exams, if you want instant gratification, or if you believe charisma and vibes can replace statistics. Because eventually, reality sends invoices, and reality is undefeated. So why does nobody talk about this £150,000 career? Because it hides behind a boring name, because the work happens behind the scenes, because the exams are brutal, and because the people who succeed in this profession are usually too busy building expertise to show off on social media. But maybe that's exactly what makes it so interesting. In a world obsessed with attention, actuarial science is a quiet path to extraordinary value. It isn't easy, it isn't fast, and it definitely isn't for everyone. But if you're analytical, patient, disciplined, and willing to play the long game, it could become one of the smartest decisions you ever make. And for the people who take it further into consulting, leadership, or entrepreneurship, the ceiling becomes much higher than a salary. Most people think actuarial science is a career, but perhaps that's why nobody talks about it. Because for the people who make it all the way, it stops being a job. It becomes a launch pad. And sometimes, the best careers are the ones nobody told you about. If you want more hidden high-paying careers, Schools Barely Explain, subscribe, and let me know which career I should cover next.